I want to open by insulting every one of you. Welcome, you roomful of salespeople. I can see that landing. Somebody in row 3 just folded their arms. I didn't spend 4 years and a great deal of money to be called a salesperson. I'm not going into sales. I have a degree in my major with my name on it. Good, hold on to that. You should go work in your major. That degree may be the best financial decision most of you will ever make. But there's a gap between the diploma in your hand and the job in your future, and I need to tell you what lies in that gap. A college graduate earns roughly $1 million more over a lifetime than someone without one. You have already done the hard part, and nobody can take it back. But nobody is going to just hand you that extra $1 million without your efforts. You are going to have to sell yourself to the workplace and earn it. Not products. Not anything you'd be embarrassed to describe at Thanksgiving. You have exactly one thing to bring to market starting tomorrow morning, and it's the educated person standing in your shoes. And here's the thing about an excellent product with nobody selling it. It sits on the shelf. Consider developing a salesperson's mindset without doing direct sales. So let me translate, because everything the sales world knows has a job search name, and you already have the skills. You just call them something else. Prospecting is researching companies to find the one that actually fits, instead of firing your resume at anything with an opening. The pitch is your resume and cover letter. It's crafting your story. Handling objections is learning that no is part of the process, not a verdict on you, and refining your approach each time you hear it. Negotiation is the interview itself, advocating for yourself out loud, which for many of you will be the hardest skill in the list. That's it. That's the whole mindset. Better communication. Advocating for something you believe in. Resilience built from small challenges, planning a few moves ahead, solving problems for other people. And confidence, the quiet kind that says my ideas have value. None of that requires you to sell anybody a used car. Part 1. The day after your first assignment starts the day after this ceremony. Not next week, not once the relatives have gone home. The day after, sit down and make the plan. Update the resume, map the search, reach out to your network. Review your finances honestly. Decide whether you'd move to other cities. And understand what a resume actually is. It is not a transcript, it's an argument. The person reading it is not asking, "What did you do?" They're asking, "What can you do for me?" Which means you don't have a resume. You have several, each one aimed at a different kind of employer, because the skill that makes you perfect for one company is buried on page 2 for another. Track it in a spreadsheet. Which version went where, on what date? Because 8 months from now, you'll have a certification you don't have tonight. And you'll want to go back and say, "Remember me? I've got something new." If you didn't write it down, you won't remember who to call. The word processor and the spreadsheet are free on the internet. There is no excuse hiding in your budget. And learn some AI. I don't care what your major was. It's going big time, and the graduate who can use it is worth more than the graduate who can't. Part 2. The mirror. Now the part everybody skips. Go stand in front of a mirror and practice out loud. I know how it feels. Do it anyway. Because you already know the questions. Everyone does. Describe a failure and what you learned. Your greatest weakness. Your greatest strength. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? How do you handle teamwork? Describe a time you faced conflict. Your most impactful course. Why do you want to work here? That's the list. It's been the same list for decades. There is no honorable reason to be surprised by any of it. Tell me about yourself. And when they ask about conflict, don't ramble. Use 4 steps: situation, task, action, result. Here's what happened. Here's what I had to do. Here's what I did. Here's how it turned out. 4 sentences. You'll sound like someone who has thought about their own life, because you will have. Practice pays a second dividend you won't see coming. One day, you'll be across a table from a client, explaining what your company can do for them, and you'll realize the value of your practicing. Interviewing isn't a hurdle you clear once. It's the beginning of your professional voice. Then the small things, which are not small. Dress for the job you're asking for. Bring 2 copies of your resume, a pen and paper. You do not want to ask the person hiring you if you can borrow a pen. Don't walk in chewing gum. Silence your phone like you're in a movie theater, and leave it silenced until you're back in the parking lot. Plan to be 10 minutes early. And be kind to the receptionist. Genuinely kind. There are employers, more than you'd guess, who walk back to that front desk after you leave and ask, how did they treat you? You are being interviewed from the moment the door opens. Then, in the room, ask 2 questions. The first proves you did the work. Not, so what does the company do? Something like, based on your recent expansion into renewable markets in this year's sustainability report, I have some questions about how this role contributes to those initiatives. That sentence takes 40 minutes of research and it changes the temperature of the room. The second is this. What does excellence in this job look like? Ask it and write the answer down. You have just been handed the promotion criteria out loud by the person who decides. Almost nobody thinks to ask. Part 3, Month 7. Here's the part graduation ceremonies don't do. I'm going to do it anyway because you've earned the truth along with the diploma. 1 month from tonight, some of you will still be jobless. 3 months, 5. 7 months from tonight, some of you will be sitting at a kitchen table at 2 in the afternoon, still in the hoodie, diploma in a drawer, wondering what is wrong with you. Hear this from a stage, on the good day, so it's already in your head when you get there. Month 7 is not a verdict. It's a phase, and it has work in it. So let me tell you what the work is, months apart if you are not hired yet. So you're never sitting there without a next move. At 1 month, you're refining. Contacts to call. Skills to add. Resume edits. And the honest question, should I be applying to fields adjacent to my major? At 3 months, you widen, build the network and stay visible, upskill or get certified, get experience any way you can, volunteer, intern, freelance, refine the portfolio, consider completely different jobs, and maintain your well-being. Keep a routine, keep your people close. That one isn't soft advice. It's how you're still standing at month 9. At 4 months, you build proof. A portfolio of real projects. Part-time work for income and experience. Online courses and certifications. Networking groups. A resume that now highlights projects and freelance work instead of coursework. At 5 months, and I love that this is all the advice on the page, think. Stop applying on autopilot. Sit down and think about what you're actually doing. At 6 months, you go wider still. Target growth industries. Research niche firms. Rewrite the cover letter for every single application. Email companies directly. And here's one worth its own sentence. Go to the corporate website itself, scroll to the very bottom of the page, and find the small print that says Careers or Open Positions. Jobs live down there that are posted nowhere else. At 7 months, the advice gets blunt, and I'm not going to soften it. Get a job, any job. Build work history. Pull espresso, stock shelves, wait tables. Then learn a hard skill on the side. SQL, data, digital marketing, whatever your field actually pays for. Volunteer to widen your network. Update your resume with everything you just learned. Run mock interviews. At 9 months, you go deeper, not wider. Expand your horizons with real training. Build a portfolio with case studies. Network relentlessly. Informational interviews, where you're not asking for a job, you're asking someone to tell you about theirs. And look seriously at adjacent fields and internships where your skills transfer. Part 4. The doors nobody points at. Look at management trainee programs, operations, management, sales, in finance, logistics, retail, and manufacturing. They exist specifically to take someone like you and build them. Look at nursing. It pays well, and the demand is enormous. Look at the paid training careers almost nobody mentions to a graduate. Claims adjuster, solar energy specialist, water treatment technician. Those are real jobs, with real training that will pay you while you learn them. And then there's month 10. If the door you've been knocking on still hasn't opened, stop knocking on that one. And look hard at the trades, because I want to give you the actual numbers instead of a slogan. To become an electrician, explore your options through a local union or trade school. Apply to a formal apprenticeship. Then, each year, you take 150 to 200 hours of classroom instruction in theory and safety, and work about 2,000 hours on the job alongside experienced electricians. You advance through the apprenticeship, typically 4 to 5 years, with your pay rising at every level. At the end, you sit the state exam and earn your journeyman license. Read that timeline again and notice what's missing. More tuition debt. You are being paid the entire time. The carpenters run the same model. A paid apprenticeship, earn while you learn, a weekly paycheck from the first week. 4 to 5 years to a licensed trade, earning throughout. That is not a consolation prize. For some of you in this room, it is the better deal. And I'd rather you heard that tonight than at 32. Imagine being in your 30s with having a college degree and a trade. Part 5. Hired. Congratulations. You got hired. Celebrate it, genuinely, out loud, with people who love you. Then sign the paperwork, set up your desk, meet the team, take notes, and start strong. Here's what the first year actually rewards, and almost none of it is glamorous. Arrive early, plan for 20 minutes so that after traffic and parking, you walk in at 8:58 for a 9 o'clock start. Being on time every single day matters more than you will believe until you're the one managing people. Don't be late to meetings. 5 minutes early lets you settle and think. Ask for feedback. Ask your manager how you could do the job better. It isn't weakness, it's the loudest available signal that you care, and it will make your entire career easier. When you have a question, sometimes just walk over and ask it. I know the instinct is to text. 10 seconds of conversation can save a day of back and forth about what that meant. Be dependable. Deadlines met every time until it's your reputation. And keep confidential things confidential. Internal only means internal only. Then be ready for the two hard ones. Some bosses are demanding, usually because someone is demanding of them. Some coworkers are difficult. You'd like to work somewhere friendly that pays extremely well. So would everyone, which is why those jobs fill fast. So you may have to cope for a while. Cope strategically. Spend less, save more, and buy yourself the freedom to leave. Is that hard? Yes. I won't pretend otherwise. And one day you will fail, publicly. Somebody in the next row of desks will actually say, "Ugh, epic fail," loud enough for you to hear. Don't dwell on it. Put your focus on fixing it. And think the fix all the way through. So you don't invent a fresh disaster while repairing the old one. Sometimes the workaround you build under pressure quietly fixes 3 other things nobody had gotten around to. That happens more than you'd think. But here's what I most want you to carry out of this room. Picture the same office a few weeks later, same desks, same people. She's just finished the project. Actually finished it on time, correctly. The phone is ringing. Somebody's arguing about a printout. Nobody looks up. Nobody says a word. So she reaches over her own shoulder and pats herself on the back. Smack. You have to be your own cheering squad. You may never get credit for hanging in there and doing a good job. So just pat yourself on the back. The less approval you need from other people, the stronger you become. Part 6. 10 years. Let me jump ahead. Bigger paychecks take bigger commitment. The average CEO works about 64 hours a week, worth knowing before you envy anyone. But a 40-hour career is a perfectly good life, and I'll say that plainly from a stage. What actually changes your life is quieter than a promotion, and I can give it to you as arithmetic. A paycheck comes in, $1,600. $1,200 goes to checking. $400 goes to savings. Every time. That's it. That's the entire secret, and it is the difference between a layoff being an inconvenience and a layoff being a catastrophe. And layoffs happen to good people doing good work for reasons that have nothing to do with them. When it happens, you go to the library, you open a notebook, and you research what else you can do. Then you update your resume with every skill the last job gave you. I want you to picture 2 room scenes, spaced 10 years apart. Room scene 1, a small apartment, stained walls, a couch with a tear in it. A couple at the table saying, "I'm so glad we're not living check to check anymore." Here's some more to put in savings. Room scene 2, the same couple, the same room, but it's newly repainted, newly furnished, and there is a folder on the table marked Investment Portfolio. And that same couple is now saying, "Can you believe how far we've come?" Same people. Same room. $400 at a time. So become excellent at your work. High quality means fewer errors, and fewer errors is the most durable job security there is. Aim to master your field, not this year, but a little better every week for years, until you're the person they can't replace. And build a shelf at home. Mindfulness, habits, growth, resilience, psychology, success. Whatever your version is. Learn from people who have already solved some of this. Walk more than you usually do. Park farther away. Read something on a quiet evening. Have dinner with your friends and laugh too loud. And when you're sitting on the couch on an ordinary Tuesday, let yourself think about what you've actually accomplished. That's its own reward, and it costs nothing. If you do all this, then one day a manager will stop at your desk and say the sentence you've been working toward. "I'm proud of the work you are doing." That's a good day, take it. But don't wait for it, because it may not come, and the work is worth doing anyway. 10 years from tonight, you're standing somewhere, not at a mirror. You don't need it anymore. You got good at this. There's money in savings. There's a failure back there you fixed. There's a month 7 you survived, a receptionist you were kind to, and a question you once asked about what excellence looks like. And there's a hand reaching over your own shoulder, giving you the credit nobody else remembered to. You already did the hard part. Now go sell skills to the workplace. Congratulations, graduates.